Hello and welcome to Lyra Nara. In today's video we are going to talk about a very interesting subject, and that is consciousness, unified field theory, and how it all correlates with holistic healing. So, without further ado, let's dive right in and learn more about this very interesting topic. And I would like to kick this off by talking about gray matter in the brain. Why? Because it's interesting. How can you explain that people with reduced gray matter in their brains, up to less than 10%, can function normally and show no behavioral anomalies? Laboratory measurements confirm that the most important parts in the brain are the meninges and the water in the cerebrospinal fluid, and not the gray matter. The meninges are working like antennas that connect with the universal information field, and the structured water carries and administrates the memories and information, so that the gray matter is not that important in the end. Conventionally, consciousness is explained as emerging from the electro and biochemical computational activity of the cells in the complex neural networks, the central nervous system. The computational activity of the brain produces then experiences from the processing of the sensorial data we receive. It is not at all clear how a series of computations can produce phenomenal experiences, however. Undoubtedly, neuromorphic computations can result in machine learning, and this is most likely an integral aspect of the process of synaptic remodeling, so the plasticity that occurs in the brain as we learn. However, the ability to process data inputs, execute a response, and optimize that response via some adaptive algorithms is not consciousness. Soft artificial intelligence can already perform these functions. It can even replicate the actions and the responses of conscious agents. Yet there is no reason to believe that the capability to mimic consciousness with adaptive learning implies the system is having an experience. Only an agent who possesses consciousness can generate experiences. And the departure from our conventional common sense view of the world as existing firmly and independently of ourselves is called into question with modern quantum unified field theory that abandons the preconceptions of so-called realism. Next, we need to talk about what is called panpsychism. In philosophy, panpsychism is the view that consciousness, the mind or soul, so the psyche, is a universal and primordial feature of all things. Consciousness permeates reality rather than being just a unique feature of the human subjective experience. It's the foundation of the universe. It is present in every particle and all physical matter. And as traditional attempts to explain consciousness continue to fail, this panpsychist view is increasingly adopted by credible philosophers, neuroscientists, and physicists, including figures such as the neuroscientist Christoph Koch and the physicist Roger Penrose. Traditionally, two dominant perspectives, the materialism perspective and the dualism perspective, have provided a framework for solving this problem. Both lead to seemingly intractable complications, though. The materialist viewpoint states that consciousness is derived entirely from physical matter. On the other hand, the dualism viewpoint holds that consciousness is separate and distinct from physical matter. Panpsychism, on the other hand, offers an attractive alternative solution. It states that consciousness is a fundamental feature of physical matter. So every single particle in existence has an unimaginable simple form of consciousness. And these particles then come together to form more complex forms of consciousness, such as us humans, with subjective experiences. And this isn't meant to imply that particles have a coherent worldview or think actively, merely that there is some inherent subjective experience of consciousness in even the tiniest particle. One interpretation of the theory holds that any system has its own consciousness, according to Chalmers. He says that rocks will be conscious, spoons will be conscious, the earth will be conscious. Any kind of aggregation gives you consciousness. One of the most popular and credible contemporary neuroscience theories on consciousness is Giulio Tononi's integrated information theory. Tononi argues that something will have a form of consciousness if the information contained within the structure is sufficiently integrated or unified, and so the whole is more than the sum of its parts. And because it applies to all structures, not just to the human brain, integrated information theory shares the panpsychist view that physical matter has innate conscious experiences. And with that we come to the so-called unified field theory. It was demonstrated recently that water holds information and modulates the DNA. The DNA biologically converts the information to proteins that are usable by the human body, and life has emerged from water. So we can say that water is a holographic model of the cells, and therefore it can easily enter into resonance with the cells. Consciousness is not an epiphenomenon of the brain. It is inside and outside of you at the same time. The brain is thought not to be the consciousness source, it is an effect of it. More likely the connective tissue with its semiconductive silica fibers and over 75% of water content is more involved in consciousness generation than the brain. And the brain activates the biological entity based on the received or exchanged information from the universe. And to better understand this, you can follow the physical model of the unified field theory developed by Nassim Haramein, who is today considered to be one of the best physicists and the one who has developed the best physical model that connects and explains the coherence and the unity between the macro and the microcosmos. First, the macrocosmos and the microcosmos, they are perfectly entangled, and there is the same electromagnetic double toroidal field governing and integrating the macro with the microcosmos. Secondly, both macro and microcosmos are immersed in and filled with space or vacuum, which is a highly densified energy field because vacuum is not empty, and this energy is known as zero-point energy. This vacuum density has been known for over 100 years, and we can consider consciousness to be part of this zero-point energy. Third, the unified field is formed of bits of information. Thus, the universe is feeding into itself, and we do the same. Furthermore, the connectivity or entanglement between all information and elementary particles is happening through wormholes. At any time, there is one particle where you are and another with the same properties somewhere at millions of years away. Also, protons are the carriers of the mass in macro as well as the micro universe. Also, the universe is moving permanently on a spiraling trajectory, which is a space vector generated by the electromagnetic toroidal field. And on this spiral, we leave our memories, our time limitations, and these are emotions associated with different information that we have exchanged with the universe. Also, materialized objects and biological life species are extensions of the space unifying field. You can vacuum engineer, so to speak, the world around you by diving into the universal consciousness, and this you could call the holographic mass solution. Also, the universe and our body are built holographically in fractal repetitions. So we all know that the Bible already stated this in an indirect way by stating that God created us after his own image. So all information is there at the same time entangled in us and in the universe. Our bodies also have their memories in space, and this can be considered to be consciousness. And by changing your memories, so the associated emotions and feelings, you can change your body and therefore your health. Over 75% of treatments work through placebo and nocebo effects, and our body is just an antenna that interacts with this endless field of information, frequencies, and bits. Unified field theory can also easily explain remote viewing, remote healing, telepathy, spontaneous remission of a disease, etc. And if you want to heal your body, you must change the settings by maneuvering the underlying emotions and beliefs that are stored in your subconsciousness, so in your subliminal. And when your body is diseased or out of balance, it is because you processed the information you have received in a wrong way, so to speak. And now the replication of your DNA is based on these disinformation blueprints. And the synthesized proteins have therefore also the wrong structure, and so on and so on. Adding chemicals to your body and brain to change this wrong biochemistry is actually the wrong solution, because the body, your central nervous system, and the biochemistry change only if you change the information. And the settings are governed by stored memories in the subliminal as well as in space. We also need to understand that where frequencies vortex, the matter is manifesting. So vortexes connect permanently through wormholes, and this is called entanglement, and matter is thus an expression of space extension feeding and feedbacking information. And this self-awareness is consciousness. It's the I am. You must find the stillness inside you, and you will connect and absorb universal information and connect to the spheres. Therefore, the deeper we go inwards, the more we place the own information outwards and receive the universal information, and we create thereby the planetary as well as the whole universal consciousness. The events of today are also a result of our collective thinking and feeling and of a collective consciousness. And so you must become the eye of the hurricane where it is perfectly still and get out of the non-coherent chemical imbalances that are outwards. Drugs are the effects of the diseases, not the causes, and emotions change the biochemistry, and this is the key to healing, therefore. So now that we have defined in the frame of modern quantum unified field theory the physics of consciousness, which says that the universe is in us and we are part of the macrocosmos, we are one, and thus the unlimited creation power is in us. And this is the unlimited dense energy field we can dive in and harness. A few people today know how to access this infinite source of energy. The many are still struggling with their daily life problems and the numerous diseases they suffer from. So the question becomes then, how can we handle these limitations? And the good news is that we have a very powerful ally, and this is nature. It nurtures us, it shows us how to do things, and it does recycle the crap we produce in our materialism and consumerism insanity. And this is your source, therefore, of inspiration and infinite energy, until we will be enlightened enough to access the unlimited possibilities of the unified field energy that is. The body knows how to heal itself if you give it some space and let it declutter itself. If the space between the atoms of the human cells is filled with toxins, pathogens, undigested food, mostly proteins and putrefaction, acidic waste such as uric and lactic acids, inflammations, nutrients and the oxygen do not reach the cells, and the cellular metabolites cannot be excreted, and therefore either your organs are going to degenerate or they're going to become toxic as a result. The importance also of the epigenetic relationship between the mind, so your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, and your beliefs in triggering, maintaining, and healing a disease is vastly addressed by experts such as Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Lynn McTaggart, and many others today. And even more profound scientific explanations about the ontogenesis of diseases triggered by a shocking psycho-emotional trauma was already developed in the 80s by Dr. Hammer. However, the relationship of information, energy, and matter works in both senses, from the word and the thought towards changing the bioenergetic field and matter, so the organ, but also from the matter in form of mutated sick cells, pathogens, and toxins who are kidnapping the energy that is produced by the healthy cells and thereby exhausting the body's energy levels, which does not have the power in turn to receive and exchange beneficial healing information. And this is because the DNA, the microtubules, and the connective tissue malfunction and process distortional information. Sick people with multiple chronic diseases must be treated on all levels, the spiritual, emotional, the bioenergetic, as well as the physical level. So you must resolve emotional conflicts, which are mostly the trigger of the diseases. You must support cellular repolarization to enhance membrane potential and to boost the ATP production. You must also restore autoregulation through connective tissue detox and open up the bodily fluid circulation as well as restore tissue and organs optimal functions. So with all this in mind, let's see how we can heal ourselves and help our system remain healthy. And the first step must be that we need to change our beliefs. So stop being a victim of your environment, beliefs, and diseases. You must become your own creator of your own life. Creative energy is the strongest healing energy. Do not ever forget this. Also understand how the universe and your microcosmos or your body work. Do not let others brainwash you, for example, religions, mass media, governments, medical establishments, marketing and advertising companies. Do not let those brainwash you. Create your own information field supporting your new you and your major goals. Also, educate yourself and create awareness about the root cause of your disease, the shocking, unexpected psycho-emotional events that have caused it, etc. Because such a psychosomatic conflict is associated with negative emotions and thoughts who are emanating negative energies to the affected organs in turn. Also, give up on your diseases. Let them go. Stop thinking about how to handle the symptoms all the time. Or be persistent. Activate your willpower, because the frequencies changing your emotions and the emotions change your genes. And also establish concrete goals with associated images and numbers. Repeat these goals like mantras for 36 to 72 days. Make always swift affirmations at the present time, such as I am happy, I can do everything I want, my healing process is ongoing, I am always successful, my income is steadily increasing, etc. Also important to know is that the most powerful mind is your subconscious mind, because 96% of everything that happens happens on the subliminal level, compared with the conscious mind where only 4% of things take place. And by repetition and visualization of your goals, so positive affirmations, you will implant the new targets in your subliminal, and your subconscious mind is controlling the autonomous nervous system, which is the control tower of all of your organs, and therefore you will see the effects then also on the organ level. Your brain also cannot differentiate between reality and images. Thus, associated images with your goals will be processed by the central nervous system and converted into reality. And these visualization events will become soon your new reality. Another important step that we must take is to control our negative thoughts. What can we do? We can record, for example, our affirmations on an MP3 file and play our affirmations during our sleep, and our subliminal will listen to them, and after a while this will become our new beliefs and commands. We also can start talking about our lives as a healthy person and make plans and set goals. We should also create and move new positive energies, learn to relax our mind and body by practicing, for example, yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong or meditation. We should also discard our karma and solve psycho-emotional traumas from our life. Simplest way of doing this is by forgiving and forgetting, so accepting and blessing your past. Also love, respect and appreciate yourself. You are part of the universal creation as we have seen, and you have this creator power within you. Absorb also the energy from nature. If you like, hug a tree, go into a healing stream, the coherent state, the mind emptiness state. Also live in the now. Forget the past and do not project worries into the future. Make your future the heaven that you want it to be. Your brain will try to convert this into reality. Each disease is also a body defense mechanism to help you identify and solve all traumas that are trapped in the depth of your cells. So you must learn how to listen to your body and train yourself to move those energies. Do not consider yourself to be a victim, as this attracts punishments such as pain. Problems are energy blockages, and you can dissolve these blockages by thinking only in solutions. And also, thoughts are electrical signals. So emotions and feelings are magnetic signals who are coming from the heart, and together they form an electromagnetic field with a toroidal dynamic, same as the universal dynamics described in the unified field theory that we talked about. So the feelings bundle in attitudes and habits, and different habits convert into beliefs, and these are stored in your subliminal. And they govern your behaviors and change the genes, your biochemistry, and your entire life. And in this graph you can see very well how this whole thing works, because the genes change with your beliefs and emotions, so we must take care of our psychological and emotional conflicts. We must solve them, because otherwise they will affect our autonomous nervous system, and you will see the symptoms appearing after only 3 to 4 days. If you don't take care of them, then after 3 to 4 years you will see the imbalances on an emotional and hormonal level, and you can see those changes actually in labs. In the lab results, the most sensitive genetic organs will become disbalanced and diseased after only about 3 to 4 years. And also the organ's functionality will become impaired, and you will see physiological changes at the cellular level, which, if again not taken care of after only 3 to 7 years, will result in degenerative tissues. So very important that you take care of your psychological and emotional conflicts and solve them. And this traumatic emotional events and the stress, if left unresolved, creates biochemical imbalances. And biochemical imbalances are the result of these emotional imbalances, which are triggered by the information that is processed in a wrong way and not the other way around. The autonomous nervous system and the connective tissue matrix are directly connected to your subliminal, so beliefs can be overridden but cannot be deleted. And there are other prerequisites to remaining and becoming healthy again. One of them is nutrition. Plants store the primary sun energy, as we all know. Animal proteins are actually secondary energy sources, therefore, as they already contain the consumed plant proteins. So we recommend that you eat mostly vegetarian, non-acidic, mucusless food. And also this is the reason why plant remedies are so powerful. Also recommended is fasting, harnessing and living on the most dense universal energy source by fasting is possible. Breatharians and some initiated people live temporarily or for longer periods of time without eating and drinking, and their bodies are highly performant. And you can also observe that the aging process in those people is significantly slowed down. And you can start by just fasting for 3 days. Don't overdo it, and try to train yourself in securing their living energy through correct breathing and tapping thereby into the most dense and clean energy form there is in the universe. Also highly recommended and a prerequisite of remaining healthy is grounding and galvanic therapy, because the body is functioning in an electric way. When the sick cells, when they lose their polarity, we get sicknesses, and to function well the cells must be kept electrically charged like a battery dipole with a plus and a minus pole. And the most efficient therapy that is known today based on repolarizing the cells, which enables the energy to flow again through the body, is galvanic therapy. And you can harness the electrical charges from nature by grounding or using these galvanic therapy devices. We highly recommend the Veget Balance Home and the Veget Balance TheraPro, link in the description below. Sunlight and phototherapy are also highly important because all biological systems radiate and absorb light from the macrocosmos. The most important one being the sunlight with all of its frequencies and its whole spectrum. Light is polarizing the cells. It facilitates the reception and information exchange with the universe, and it induces and preserves the cellular coherence. So therefore, if you are not in a sunny region, you just infuse sunlight, for example, with such amazing devices that mimic natural sunlight, as the IceFit 915 and the Magic Disc UBS 315. Link to those two devices also in the description box below for you. Next, take care of your breathing. Correct breathing is key for all life processes. We are literally an air engine driven by our lungs, and we are crossed by thousands of miles of different tubes, and these tubes must be always kept clean, of course. And this is the job of your lymphatic system, which is the key drainage and sewer system, so to speak, the terminator of all of toxins and slags and mutated cells and pathogens. And through correct breathing, you can permanently clean your lymphatic system. Correct breathing naturally dilates your vessels, so your blood vessels, your lymphatic vessels, your intestines, bronchi, etc. And it also keeps the body pH in its ideal range of 7.35 to 7.42. Also, movement. It does not matter how you move, but it is crucial that you exercise and move your body for some hours daily outside in nature. Also, stop thinking while you're doing it. Just enjoy the moment and be in the now. When it comes to holistic healing, it is also recommended that you always use herbal or homeopathic remedies wherever possible, because the plants carry the sun signature and come together with the best bioactive components such as the coenzymes, the flavonoids, the polyphenols, etc. that you need to heal yourself. These remedies can heal everything without side effects, no risk, and they never create resistance, unlike antibiotics, for example. Homeopathic remedies are actually plant remedies in a very high dilution, and these remedies carry the plant's information, so the consciousness, so to speak, to very deep levels within your body. Artificially created frequencies offered in many devices today must be very accurate and correctly dosed, so the power levels must be correctly adjusted in order to bring you results. Technological frequencies, of course, try to mimic the herbal and homeopathic remedies, so natural frequencies, and to be usable in holistic therapy, these frequencies must go into resonance with the human cells. Human cells are usually at very high vibrations, so EHF or radio wave levels, but with very subtle energy levels of 10 at -8 potency in watts, you can measure it in nanotesla. So very subtle energies. Old-fashioned devices that are still produced today vibrate at a way too high power level, and this actually harms the cells by heating them up too much. So careful there. Light therapy is also a great way of holistic healing. They contain the good devices. They create light and natural magnetic field frequencies such as the Schumann frequencies or the Earth magnetic field frequencies or the scalar vibrations, and therefore they can easily communicate with your cells due to the fact that on each electron spin there is a photon attached which carries the information. And additionally, these radiances must be well synchronized and eventually modulated with natural noises such as the sun noise and the Earth magnetic field noise in order to be efficient. Also, many natural procedures developed in the past and still used successfully today are exceptionally efficient. Galvanic therapy, we've already mentioned, which is a DC current to repolarize the cell, but also knife hydrotherapy, water floating, cupping, sound therapy, and laser therapy work well because our bodies emit and receive a highly coherent light, which is very well mimicked, for example, by the laser diodes in laser therapy. And of course, at lyra.com you can get some of the best laser therapy, sound therapy, and galvanic therapy devices available on the market today. Just give us a visit. Do not also forget to meditate, to release emotional stress, to use, for example, hypnosis or relaxing techniques and energy work such as Tai Chi, yoga, Qigong, Tuina, Thai, Shiatsu massages, and many others that are available today in order to address your healing process holistically. And with all that being said, I hope that you've enjoyed this information. If you did so, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions or you need personal advice on what is best for you, give us a call or contact us at shop@lyra.com. I'm going to post the complete contact information, including our toll-free number, in the description box below for you. And until next time, I hope that you stay healthy.